Hello, Zeb Striker Army. My name is JaCubAsAlways, and welcome to this brand new series on our channel called How to Win in Competitive Pokemon Draft League format. This first episode is going to be about team building with purpose, where I show you my entire mindset of my entire team, where I go really in depth. It'll probably be like anywhere like 10 to 20 minute video when we'll show you the battle, how it worked out. This is not like supposed to be like, I don't have to upload this league, but I'm going to just because I want to show you and turn this into a series about how we do certain things and why we do it and what makes me qualified for this and everything like this. But basically, I just wanted to give a shout out to one of my favorite Fortnite players. I know that's Fortnite in this Pokemon, but I basically took this series and turned it into a Pokemon series. So one of my favorite streamers slash YouTubers on Fortnite is CypherPK, and he's got a series on how to win and how to win in Fortnite and stuff, and I've learned a lot from him. So I'm like, well, I could do this but for Pokemon Draft League because I'm pretty solid at Draft League and I'm constantly improving, and I want to show you guys my thought process behind things that I do and why I do them, so you can try to improve, just like I've improved greatly over the last year and a half, especially after I've been playing Draft League format for over 2 years now, but I've improved so much over the last year and a half. Like, I keep constantly improving. But yeah, anyway, my win percentage since like last August, like 2017 August or so, has been like around 70%. So I've done pretty well, and honestly, like, yeah, I've just improved so much, and I want to help you guys improve, and I want to just constantly improve, and we get some discussion in the comments down below about Pokemon Draft League, because I want this to be huge. I want Pokemon Draft League to get bigger than the actual competitive game, because Draft League format has so much possibility, and it has I think it's just, there's no limit to the potential of Draft League format getting as big as it is, because like, it's just counter team. It's just like, okay, there's nothing better competitively for Pokemon the Draft League format, so shout out to Magnitude for creating it many years ago, but thanks, dude. Like, this video is basically because of you and CypherPK. So let's get started. So I don't have to upload this league or anything like that, but I just wanted to show it for purposes. But this is going to be APA season number 11 Showdown League, the APA Showdown, and we're going up against Panther 2. So since this first episode is about team building with purpose, you guys can kind of understand that. So make sure all your Pokemon have merit and their EVs are correctly placed and like for a specific reason. So don't just place EVs to place EVs. Like, if you don't need, so I could have ran, look at this line right here. I could have ran like 252 attack in it, but I didn't have to, which we'll get into. So let's go over his team and then my team and everything like that. So his team going to this, Panther 2 is a well-respected Draft League player too, and he's very good. So I wanted to show this game in specific. I know he's a good player. He knows I'm a pretty solid player too. So we both know we're good, right? So when you're facing a really good player, you have to, we'll get into that later, into like another episode. This will be like a Tuesday thing, I guess. I'll make it a Tuesday thing, is what I'm planning on it. So, looking at his team, going to his team, he had Celebi, Arcanine, Registeel, Swellow, Sneasel, Druddigon, Hitmonchan, Weezing, Gastrodon, Venomoth, and Electrode. His Z Pokemon were Venomoth and Celebi. My team going into this was Cobalion, Linoone, Slowking, Decidueye, Moltres, Guzzlord, Diancie, Acelgor, Zebstrika, Mudsdale, and Garbodor. My Z Pokemon were Cobalion and Acelgor. If you guys haven't guessed, this is a Tier 3 and below Draft League right now, and it is just a fun league, but the competitiveness in me just wanted to win, and always wins, like, no matter what I'm playing, like, especially Pokemon. I always want to try to win, no matter if it's fun or not. My goal is always to win. My goal is always to try to win a championship, and constantly improve. Like, constructive criticism is what I'm going for, and just discussing in general about what you think of the topic of the day. So, going into this game, I knew Linoone could win. There's just a few roadblocks in its way. So a couple of them were being Registeel, especially like a Shookaberry counter set. So I needed to scout for that, obviously. Or just eliminate Registeel before I just went for game. His faster Pokemon, like if he EV'd his Arcanine correctly to like Arcanine gets extreme speed, so does Linoone. So I need to be careful about sweeping with Linoone. I need to scout to see if Arcanine might have extreme speed, how fast it is. Obviously, if we're faster, our extreme speed will go before his. But if he's like more of a jolly set or just knows how much speed we're going to run in our Linoone, which he's a very smart guy, so he could have very well done that. We need to be careful. We also need to be able to EV our Linoon in a specific way where we can set up. Because if we don't EV our Linoon in a specific way where we can set up, what's the point of setup Linoon? And honestly, I knew I didn't need max attack this game. I mean, I wanted adamant for power, but I didn't have to go max attack. Because I could have easily gone max attack and just something like that. Yeah, that could have worked, but I didn't need to go that route, so I didn't. Because I calced like everything with like +6 extreme speed or +6 facade, etc., etc. So the reason why I ran facade rather than return is because that way I could set up on something like Weezing. Weezing thinks he's going to burn me. I can blow it back with a facade, and nothing on Panther's team switches into a facade, like except for Registeel. Registeel even got 2-hit KO'd by a +6 facade, burned facade, so that couldn't even switch in to it. So, and since he didn't have a ghost type, I'm like, well, this is great. He doesn't have a ghost type. We're solid. We're set. However, I still figured he would probably bring Shookberry counter Registeel because that's his best way of dealing with Linoon. So there's that. So I wanted to build my entire team around Linoon. So the speed in Linoon was very specific. So I figured with his Pokemon, he would just like outpace my Garbodor. So I'm like, well, let's just go. Well, he might have gone, because usually Linoon's adamant. So either he would outspeed adamant Linoon with his Pokemon like Celebi or even Arcanine, but Arcanine would lose so much bulk and then it would not be as good. Or he would just run enough speed for Garbodor, because I think I have a Moltres too, but he might have ran enough speed for that. But I just figured like he would do that, and I'm like, well, if he does that, I'm not really... Extreme Speed can annihilate Arcanine, especially after rocks, as well as like Celebi. Like it can do a lot too, so I'm not too worried about that. And I didn't think he would... I thought he would run more of an offensive Celebi, since he's got defensive Arcanine and stuff, for things like Decidueye. So I didn't think he would run that. I thought he would run more offensive Celebi, so I wasn't too worried about going max attack, because only if you were like really physically defensive Celebi would we need to run max attack. And even then, +6 extreme speed is just like, you know, then we can kill him with like a facade if we're burned or something. So it didn't really matter if we ran adamant 252. So that's my thought process besides for Linoon. Like, it just did so well. So how did I want to combat this? How did I want to combat his team and make sure Linoon can sweep or just like do a lot of damage to where we can just win the game? Well, first up, I didn't want to have to deal with Registeel, so I brought this trapping Decidueye with Sub, Spirit Shackle, Roost, and Swords Dance. So the speed is just for him trying to creep me a little bit or something with like Registeel or like some of his other Pokemon. We're physically defensive like this with this much HP and this much defense. So Ice Punch from an uninvested Registeel does not break our subs, and we can just set up all over Registeel, because usually Registeels aren't that fast. Usually Registeels, you know, don't have any of that. We don't have to worry about that. So as long as our Decidueye doesn't get poisoned or anything, we're in good position. So we set up a sub on Registeel. We just set up Swords Dances on it. We trap it with Spirit Shackle, and we can get up +6 pretty easily and be behind a sub if that's the goal. So our goal is to just trap Registeel, and we're in really good shape, right? Right. So we trap Registeel, it's essentially GG, and he can't really do much with Linoon. Well, he could like get intimidates and stuff with his Pokemon, but like he really can't effectively take it down very easily. So this is what the Decidueye is. Sub also helped us so we don't get Pursuit Trapped by that Sneasel, because I didn't want to get Pursuit Trapped by Sneasel, but I didn't want to run Colbur Berry because I'm just like, well, that's pretty obvious. Plus, Ice moves still destroy us, so we really can't play around to that easily, which Sub allows us to do that. And so we didn't really need a Grass move on this thing because it hit his team so hard. And honestly, like, we're not really too worried about Weezing. Weezing's not that hits that hard, and plus we have good Spidaf, we're bulky. We could honestly set up on Weezing too. Wasn't too worried about like anything on his team specifically. This just hit his team really hard. I think the only thing that it didn't hit was Swellow, but Swellow just was gonna wall Decidueye anyway. But we have things to deal with Swellow on our team, believe me. We have a few checks to Swellow on our team. Swellow was a Sneasel and Swallow were like the bigger threats of his team to my team because they're so speedy and can hit pretty hard, especially like an offensive, like just a Specs HP Steel set or like a Steel Wing Gut set. So that's why we actually did bring the Berry Diancie, so we could deal with that, and also could hit like, you know, Iron Tail Arcanine if you went that route or something like that, or even take it from Registeel and get rocks up if we need to go that route. So we're this much speed because in case he decided to be a bit crazy with his speed on his, not Registeel necessarily, but his, where is it? I guess it was for like max speed Druddigon. That's not adamant. I just wanted to be safe just in case he got ballsy and wanted to just run Earthquake and run an offensive set and like do a lot of damage to us. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to be Berry because with this much HP investment, we take any one hit from Sneasel, any one hit from Swallow. We can survive moves from Venomoth, HP Steel, or even though Bug Buzz is going to do more damage because Tinted Lens, but that's not the point. Like, we can survive any hit, go for Diamond Storm or Moon Powered. By the way, I know for a fact this was I think one was supposed to be Earth Power. I'm pretty sure I was trying to run Earth Power over Diamond Storm, and I had a brain like I had Earth Power and then I clicked Diamond Storm and I forgot to change it before the battle, so I was kind of unfortunate. But I know for a fact it was supposed to be Earth Power on this, so just pretend that's Earth Power. That's a little bit unfortunate, but we couldn't hit Registeel, but that's not a big deal. But we were Rocks, we were Berry to take on his threats, and Diancie just could put in so much work this game if we needed it to for that much. Like I was afraid of it, but at the same time I really wasn't afraid of it, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, Diancie, very big threat to his team besides like Registeel and stuff like that, and Celebi. Celebi didn't really care about it, but the rest of his team, I guess, it was a bigger threat to his team, and he probably needed to prep for it. But we were Berry for that. It's just there's purpose behind all these right now to make sure we don't lose to any one Pokemon on his team. Next up, we're actually Assault Vest Slowking because it allowed us to switch into a Spec Swallow and not get 2 KO'd. If he were Spec Swallow, it would allow us to not get get OHKO'd by a Life Orb Jolly knockoff from Sneasel after Rocks. And in turn, we could hit up for a lot with Signal Beam if we chose that route. Signal Beam also hit Celebi really hard. We were able to help deal with the Celebi if we needed to. We had Grass Knot for his Gastron, Psyshock for just nice stab, like Hitmonchan if it was like AV or something, and Scald for just good damage overall. Like, this set could put into work very, very easily. Yes, we really can't hit Registeel, but I'm not really afraid of Registeel. Registeel really can't do a whole lot to our team. So I really wasn't too worried about Registeel. Also helped deal with, like, you know, like a Life Orb Electrode, because Electrode doesn't hit that hard. We could take some hits from that, do some damage back with Psyshock. Overall, like, this is just a solid Pokemon to bring this matchup. I think it also could take, like, a Savage Spinout from a Venomoth. Not +1 Savage Spinout, just a Savage Spinout in general. So Slowking was just a real solid Pokemon to bring this matchup, because it had merit, had purpose. Like I said, this entire thing is about team building with purpose. That's the entire thing. But next up, Venomoth is a spooky Pokemon to our entire core right now. So I wanted to bring something to check a +1 Venomoth, and that Pokemon is the Scarf Cobalion, actually, with Close Combat, Stone Edge, Volt Switch, and X Scissor. Stone Edge always checked it. It also checked something like a Sneasel and a Swellow. Like, his Pokemon remaining are, let's see, like a weakened Arcanine, a weakened Celebi, Venomoth, Swallow, and Sneasel. Like, Stone Edge can just clean sweep from that range if that's the situation. Close Combat's just nice for some stab options if it's like got Swallow, Sneasel, and Registeel left or something, or even Arcanine. Like, Close Combat's a nice solid option there. We're not weak to any priority move he's really got except for Mach Punch on Hitmonchan. Like, every other priority move he had in his team, Cobalion resisted, which is important. So, Volt Switch just for some initiative, and X Scissor for Celebi because Celebi was kind of an issue. X Scissor just hit it really hard anyway, so unless he was like Tangaberry or Tongaberry, whatever you want to pronounce it, it was going to do a lot of damage, especially since we're the Adamant Nature, and we only needed that much attack. And I think this HP allowed us to live a knockoff from Sneasel into a low kick. So I think that's why we went that route, and then just so we could survive that hit in case we needed to go that route. But Cobalion had definitely a lot of merit. Something I was really afraid of was Sneasel this game. So I thought, and I figured I needed one more Pokemon for that set. And also, so he can't just like Volt Switch on my entire team and just get tons of initiative with like Electrode. I wanted to bring Mudsdale here with the Yachi Berry, because not only would help with HP Ices from Electrode, it would also help with Sneasel, and we could then Oko with Rock Slide from our Mudsdale. Just like, it's like the old Edge Quake combo. I guess it's the Slide Quake combo. I don't know. Rock Quake, whatever you want to call it, combo. Rock or Ground usually hits most Pokemon super effectively or neutrally in the game. Like, very few Pokemon can resist both of those. I think the only thing off the top of my head would be like a Torterra. Torterra resists Edge Quake or the Rock Quake combo. So that's like the one Pokemon that comes to my mind right away. But I wanted this because I knew it could hit his team extremely hard. His team is very weak to ground plus rock. The only thing on his team that really can take this on is Weezing, which we have Switch-ins to, and Celebi, which we have ways to deal with as well. So Celebi, and blocks are up, Celebi is not going to want to take a Adamant 228 Earthquake. It's going to do some damage to it for sure. So, honestly, I thought this team was very well thought out. It had a Wincon, it had ways to deal with his Pokemon, it had ways to trap his biggest nuisance to my Wincon with the Decidueye, it had ways of checking his biggest threats and just winning down and wearing down his team offensively. So what we're going to do next is actually go to the game, and we're going to show you what's going to go on in this game. What I'm going to do is just, I'll make it work, don't worry. I will cut this so it doesn't look so funky. It'll be just that battle going up right now. So as you can see, the Pokemon he brought are Arcanine, Celebi, Swellow, Gastrodon, Registeel, and Venomoth. As you can see, the only way he would have brought to remove hazards are Swellow or Venomoth. So I'm just like, well, why would I not lead Diancie, get rocks up? He does not have a Taunter on his entire team that can like really do anything to Diancie. So what's stopping me from getting rocks up? Nothing really. So what I'm going to do is actually just get rocks up with Diancie as he leads Gastrodon. Now, I could have just went to Decidueye, but I'm afraid of Toxic. If he Toxics Decidueye, that's going to really be a big hindrance to me and how I do things. I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. I want to get rocks up because of the pressures. Arcanine, Venomoth, and Swellow. Swellow and Venomoth being bigger threat, probably the biggest threats to my team, and Celebi just taking some nice chip. So I'm going to go ahead and get my rocks up first turn as he clicks Toxic and misses. So that's unfortunate. I'm like, good thing I stayed in because I didn't want to get Decidueye poisoned because it's really important to trapping that Registeel. So I just go for a Moonblast, try to get some chip damage to scout out the spread. And what I learned from that is that it's really specially defensive. And I didn't want to deal with it as he misses another Toxic. So I'm just like, me being the guy I am, like, well, this is crap. I don't want to just win by hack. So I'm just like, let me click rocks and you poison me. So then I go for rocks as he poisons us officially. Like that, he could have gotten 2 rounds of Toxic if he didn't miss the first turn, which wearing me down is kind of nice. I just want to go for a Moonblast because I'm like, he's going to Toxic again, predicting Decidueye. And I'm like, I'm not about that. I don't want to get him. And I'm like, okay, he's kind of weak right now. And I think he'll go for a recover. So I'm like, now is the time to go into Decidueye. As he makes an amazing play and just goes for a Toxic. And poisoning my Decidueye, I'm like, crap. Man's a lord. Man is a lord. So now I just go for Spirit Shackle, trying to trap Gastrodon in. But he actually makes a very bad mistake, and he goes into his Registeel. And that really surprised me, because Registeel is his best check to Arlinium. So I'm just like, well, this is a no-brainer for me. I just stay in here, trap Registeel, and completely KO it, right? So I Swords Dance up. Since he didn't bring Sneasel, I'm like, I don't absolutely need this. I don't even have Grass Stab on this for Gastrodon, so I'm like, there's no point in me actually going for this. No point in me like keeping this around since I don't even have Grass Stab. So I'm just going to set up on this, and I'm going to go for Spirit Shackle again, and it's going to be a 2 KO. As he reveals, he's got no ways of hitting my Decidueye, which is awesome. I set up another Swords Dance. It didn't really matter if I Swords Dance there or the reason I Swords Dance there is in case he like, in case he went in something I could like KO afterwards, I guess, and I could hit for harder. Like if he went to like Venomoth to try to set up on me, I could just Spirit Shackle and kill it then. So that's why I went that route instead. I just wanted to make sure that I would not be set up fodder for something later on. So that's why I went for Swords Dance there, and I knew the next one would KO Registeel. And now I'm like brought to like really low. I'm at 1% as he goes into Arcanine, which I think he should have went into that first thing anyway, like Honor Decidueye rather than Registeel. But that's okay. He goes into his Arcanine right now, and I'm at 1%, so I could like save this for Death Fodder for later. But I'm like, no. In case he try to predict a switch and clicks Willow, or he clicks Morning Sun, or like he does something funky or toxic predicting Mudsdale or something of that nature, or Slowking, like my best play is to just sack off Decidueye and go for a Spirit Shackle here. And as you can see, he clicks Morning Sun, and I know it's going to do a lot of damage because we are Decidueye, we're at +4. So I just thought that was the best overall play for us to keep this Arcanine low. And now we can actually go into our Slowking. And he knows that he can't kill us with anything, especially after me seeing Leftovers. So my best play is actually to go for a Signal Beam here, predicting like Celebi to come in, like rather than Arcanine, because I know he can't kill me. And I was not about to give Gastrodon the free boost. Signal Beam was the best like middle ground play here, because if he goes to Swallow, I can see if it's Guts, and if it's Guts, I can go to like Diancie as fodder, and if it's not Guts, I can just stay on the Slowking and click Scald and probably kill it, or Psyshock and kill it. So Signal Beam was the best play because it covered Celebi plus Gastrodon. Yes, it doesn't do that much damage, and yes, we know it's Spadef. But now, like, he's either in a position where he can either... By the way, did I run some speed in this? Yeah, I ran some speed in my Slowking. I forgot to mention this, but I did run some speed into Slowking for the Gastrodon, so I could hit it with a Grass Knot. I was able to afford that, so that's why I went that route. So I go for a Grass Knot, he makes a good play, and goes into Venomoth here. Now, into the Venomoth was a good play because he scouted for a Grass Knot, because Grass Knot would have done a lot of damage to his Gastrodon, even though he was Fizz Def, or specially defensive. So it would have done like 40 to 49 or something of that nature, 40 to 48. So it would have done a lot of damage, but since we were faster, we were always going to win that exchange. Pretty much, because he would have had to take the time to go for Toxic, and then he would have just died, and he would have been in a bad position for later. So he goes into Venomoth. Now, this is kind of like a hard play to predict. He either sets up a Quiver Dance, which then Diancie's in a range where it still lives, or he clicks Sleep Powder, which are Diancie's poisoned. So we're in a really good position right now, and we always have Cobalion to check it in the back. And looking at his team, not much on his team really appreciates his stonage from this point. Pretty much only Gastrodon, which then he can recover, but we have ways of dealing with his team and weakening his team. And since I know he's special defensive, I know our Mudsdale is going to be doing about 50% with an Earthquake. So remind for that for later. So I'm already thinking a few turns ahead if he goes back into the Gastrodon. So I'm going to go into Diancie here because it's our best possible play as he clicks Sleep Powder. And there we go. We're in really good position now. So now I can just fire off a Power Gem. Or a Diamond Storm, I think I actually do, because it'll do more damage to Gastrodon. And pretty much everything on his team. So I can actually just stay in here. I know we can survive any move with our Venomoth, or with our Diancie, unless he's like Z Energy Ball or Z Giga Drain. I think it gets that. I think it gets a Giga Drain, but I'm going to go for the Power Gem here. And I put this Gastrodon in the range where I know he's got to click Recover. And because I know he's got to click Recover, I'm going to go hard into my Mudsdale, which is kind of a ballsy play if you really think about it. But I need to keep this Gastrodon weak, and if I don't keep it weak, this Gastrodon is going to be a big pain in my ass. Because Linoon's not guaranteed to, like, if he gets a burn, it's going to be unfortunate. Because we'll only be at +3 if we boost where that. And I just need to keep this thing low in order to do really well. And I click Earthquake, and I know I'm bulky. And I know it's going to do over 50% because we're on Mudsdale and we have a lot of attack investment. And he's Spadef. And as long as he doesn't get a burn here, we're in an amazing position. Even if he does get a burn here, he's forced to recover and we would have been able to rest up next turn. So I really wasn't too worried about that. So I just go for another recover to try to keep this Gastrodon low. And I'm either trying to win with Linoon or I'm trying to win with close combat spam with my Cobalion. All you have to do is eliminate Venomoth to win with close combat, or just win with Linoon. So what I'm going to do here is to scout this Celebi's attack or see what it wants to do. I'm actually going to sack off my Mudsdale here because I did not want to switch in a Pokemon for that. Like, Mudsdale did its job. It kept the Gastrodon at low, and I just wanted to scout this Celebi out. So it's leftovers, which is important. I'm actually just going to go into Linoon now because I know it is not a Z, because I saw leftovers, so I know it's not a setup, or not setup. I know it's not a Z variant, and I know we can survive any hit, and it's essentially GG. It's Linoon at this point. So I'm going to set up a Belly Jump. I know his Psychic will put me into range, but as long as his Arcanine, sorry, as long as his Arcanine does not have, what is it called, faster with extreme speed, we essentially either win this game with Linoon here or win this game with Cobalion here, because he's going to have to sack off most of his team right now in this current juncture to our Linoon. Because at this point, I know his Celebi is not completely offensive, or not completely bulky because of that Earthquake damage. So I just set up here, go for extreme speed as he stacks off his Venomoth, which basically allows us, as long as we can Celebi, to win with close combat spam. He goes into Arcanine. I know he's probably pretty bulky based on the +4 Spirit Shackle, and I go for extreme speed, knocking out Swellow. He has to keep doing this to try to even have a chance to win, because now we're at +4. This is his best play here in this current juncture because of, oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh, this stinks, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's go to this. So we're at +4 right now instead of +6 as he goes back into Arcanine for the last time because of rocks, and we can just kill it. As you can see, if he had extreme speed, which I think he did show after the game, he did have it. He wasn't fast enough though. So we just knock out his Arcanine, and then he goes into Celebi. I know it's probably not going to kill because we're only +4 at this point. We go for extreme speed and pretty much knock it out, as he will knock us out with a Psychic. But what this gives us is the opportunity to just win with close combat from our Adamant Cobalion. So basically, I know we're going to win this game at this current point because eventually we either had Grass Knot with Soaking to knock that out, or either way, if he didn't sack Gastrodon there, we would have won. So there you go. Cobalion ends up cleaning up the game after Linoon did so much damage to his entire team. So that's what I wanted to show with team building with purpose. So finding a win con in your game and just basically building and routing accordingly, trying to find every nook and cranny. Not like, obviously teams are not going to be perfect, but just keep thinking about how you can win games and trying to make that a reality, make that goal a reality about, hey, this is how I want to win. How can I win with this Pokemon? Now, you're going to struggle from time to time. You're not going to get this perfect right away. So you might like find a team out like, hey, this looks really good on paper. Let's build around it, and then it does absolutely horribly. But that's okay because you're trying to find win cons. You're trying to find ways, trying to find merit like in winning with how you want to win. And sometimes it's gonna like backfire in your face. Like, that's just point blank. That's just Kurt for you. That's just like part of the learning curve. Like, you'll eventually find a way to do it, and you eventually, like, you're gonna say, hey, this first win con that I'm trying to win around, like, hello, like, it's not gonna work out right. Like, you might find a win con that looks good on paper right away, but as you're building, you're like, this looks horrible. And if you get that like gut instinct that it's not gonna do well, and you're not gonna do well with it and win with it, scrap it. Just trust me. Even if you put like an hour into team building that team right now, scrap it. Like, if you figure out they just have that gut instinct that it's not working out, this team is not that good, scrap it and try a different thing. Like, it's all about trial and error in Pokemon Draft League format and just life in general. So the faster you figure that out, the more you'll learn and the faster you'll learn. Being open to constructive criticism is really big as well. So that's what you have to do. Like, that's team building with purpose. in my humble opinion. So I hope you guys did learn a lot from this first episode of the series. I know it was a little bit long, like 30 minutes long, but I just wanted to explain my entire thought process around this team and what we did. Make sure to check out Panther's link in the description down below too. He's probably not going to upload his side of this because it's just a fun little league. But I just wanted to show you guys what team building is all about. So have a great day. I love you all. And let me know in the description down or in the comments down below what you might want to see for the next How to Win in Pokemon Draft League format. It'll probably be next Tuesday, July 3rd. So thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day, and I love you all. Peace.